on this very auspicious day, the day where we celebrate the International Yoga Day, 21st June, as mentioned, being the longest day, with 13 hours of day and 11 hours of night. Now, this auspicious day, today we are here to primarily discuss on the concept of energy. Before we delve onto it, let me start with a small story for all of you. Krishna and Balarama, very famous characters in Indian mythology, were once walking in the forest. It was pitch dark. They had to reach a certain destination, and unfortunately it turned so dark and they felt so sleepy. They thought they will rest the night in the same forest and continue their journey the next day morning. It so happened Krishna was all the more sleepy, so he told Balarama, look, I'm going to sleep first, and if you are ever sleepy, just say Krishna and I will do the watchman duty. So Krishna slept. Balarama was on the watchman duty. Suddenly, there's this huge monster that happens to come and attack on Balarama. It comes with all the force, and Balarama gets so scared. It comes to Balarama closer. Balarama, for his surprise, realizes that he shrinks in size as the demon is approaching him. The demon is growing larger than its original size, and Balarama has turned into a small mosquito size. Finally, Balarama has no energy left. So he faints in the process. He says, Krishna! And he falls off. Krishna thinks, okay, the watchman duty is on. So he is marching to see if all is okay. It's the same demon. Now it is approaching Krishna. Krishna looks him with the demon in the eye and asks, what do you want? Suddenly, the demon shrinks in size and Krishna becomes larger than the demon. 3-4 times the same thing continues. The demon is approaching, Krishna is becoming big, the demon is becoming small. And now, the demon turns itself into the size of a mosquito. So Krishna takes the demon, ties it to his dhoti. It's up early in the morning, Balarama gets up, they both start their journey. Hey Krishna, you know what happened yesterday? There was this demon that attacked. You were sleeping, snoring. Huh? Is this the demon that you're talking about? He shows. Oh my God, it's the same demon, but look at the size. So here is a very important lesson for all of us to learn. We all have problems, challenges, issues. If you can deal with it, looking at it in the eye, no matter how big the problem is, you get the strength to become bigger than the problem. But if you run away, get scared, you are feeding that monster. Therefore, irrespective of what its size is, in your mind, if it has ruled you and if it has become bigger than you, you've already lost the battle. On this, let's start today's talk, because the entire talk today is about energy. For all these years, we thought people who are talking on energy is some kind of visualization you understand. One is awareness, the other is mind. Look at this. Awareness is like a glowing ball of light. Today in Shavasana, while you have the commands, I said it's a glowing ball of light. Visualize, imagine that it's touching the tips of your fingers and toes and neck. You did this exercise in practicals. Now we're trying to understand in theory what impact it has. You all know the meaning of awareness. Right now, I am aware that I am speaking on a mic. So naturally it's amplified. This is awareness. I am aware of how I am carrying myself here. This awareness. mind? Mind is a vast space. Wherever this glowing ball of light goes, that is where your energy flows. Let us do a small experiment for you to feel what I am trying to explain. Kindly keep your eyes closed and think of the recent wedding that you attended. Think of the boy, the girl, how they looked when they dressed themselves to be the bride and the groom. Was it a good choice? What did you wear? Did you eat too much? How was the food? How was the ambience? You think it was a good couple? You think it was the right choice of clothing that they made? Relax. See, right now, you're not attending a wedding. But when I asked, how was the clothing? Was it good, bad? Some of you said yes, some of you said no. So this is mind and this is awareness. You took this glowing ball of light, which is awareness, to a corner of your mind which can light up that space. Now, for better understanding, now you have a good understanding, better understanding, close your eyes again. Can you remember suddenly having got a phone call which said somebody near, dear to you is no more? Do you remember how it felt? Do you remember how your emotions were raging in your mind that day? What were the thought processes that you had when you got this call? Did you feel like you should have spoken to this person sometime before he or she died? Did you feel like you actually gave your time? Did you regret? Was that a learning lesson for you? Open your eyes. I don't know if you could feel or not, but the entire room felt so cold because we've all lost somebody very near and dear to us. So when you connect yourself to that emotion, you will feel it. So when that part of your mind gets to think, which means if your awareness is taken to a sad state of your mind, you feel sad. Usually we say, I am happy. But ideally, the right grammar psychologically should be, your awareness is in a state of your mind which is called happiness. Your awareness is in a state of excitement. Therefore, you are feeling it. Wherever your awareness goes, that is where your energy flows. Energy, as you all know, is like the Panchabhuta, Prithvi, Apa, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. We can consider water to also be a form of energy. Whenever you are watering on a dry patch of land, what do you think ideally grows? Would the weeds grow or the flowers bloom? Both, right? Because energy cannot discriminate between right and wrong. What you feed manifests in your life. If you are thinking something negative, even if it is about your neighbor, that is going to manifest in your life, is the lesson. So if you are thinking about and if you are putting your awareness in a happy state, you think you are happy. Long ago, this is precisely what Buddha said. What we think, we become. All your professors, They invested their time, for example, in mathematics for a long time, longer than what most of you must have. He or she is called a mathematician. Similarly, if you think about something for a certain period of time, you become that because you manifest that within you. So what you think is what you become. Therefore, now being able to optimize your energy is a very important lesson. As all of you know, if you were a child, your parents must have told you, focus, concentrate. Have you ever been taught to focus and concentrate? All of you are told, but have you been taught to focus and concentrate? If you have never taught somebody to focus and concentrate, how will he or she focus or concentrate? So in today's class, the first thing is to understand how to focus and how to concentrate. Here is a simple principle which says one thing at a time, which means you start something, you ensure that you do one thing at a time, finish before you go to the next one. If I'm talking to somebody, I ensure I have my conversation with this person 100% and then move on to something else. I will not think about and process something in my mind and do something else in action. You will invest time with yourself and have designated goals. For example, today morning you practiced yoga. You knew that these are some asanas which you could comfortably do. There were others which were not so easy for you to do. So what was not easy for you to do? Can you give yourself a set goal, standard, time, fix it, and ensure that with perseverance you put yourself through the practice each and every day and you see that you attain a reasonable amount of perfection. The next one is willpower. Let us take a simple example of you getting up in the morning and having a shower. You think it's a very simple thing. But no, it has a chronology in its action step, which means you get up from the bed, make your bed, switch on the shower, wipe your body, wear clothes. If you mix any of these processes of wearing fresh clothes, switching on the shower, and then making up the bed, it's not going to work. So, something as simple as that has a chronology and you will follow it dedicatedly with perseverance, and willpower is like a muscle. We call this a mental bicep. For you to be able to develop, harness, work on it, you will focus on doing one thing at a time every day, which means you started practice of yoga today, you will practice yoga every day at the same time. 6 to 7, if you have dedicated yourself to yoga, you will do nothing but yoga at that point. Not for a day, 2, 3, but for a continued amount of time. With all said and done, we know energy, just like money, is a resource that can get over. It's not something that's going to eternally flow into your life, and therefore, you being very, very cognizant of where your energy is flowing becomes very important. There are people you talk to, by the end of it, you are so motivated, excited, full of energy. The people you talk to, by the end of it, you feel a little dejected, not very happy and excited. These are called energy vampires. You do not have to invest a lot of time on these people. Now, again, if somebody is going through something bad in their lives, having lost somebody, attacked by a very bad disease, these are transient vampires. You can show empathy for them. This is an exception. But if you are with somebody and you feel by the end of the conversation, you feel sucked out of energy, it is better you avoid. How to avoid? Somebody comes to you, you know this is an energy vampire. They ask you, how are you? You say, I'm fine. Otherwise, what do? How are you? I'm fine. How are you doing? So you do not even have to extend yourself unnecessarily because energy is limited. This is very interesting. From the old school to the new school is the transition on this slide. Adi Shankaracharya says that each thing tends to move towards its own nature. So what is our true nature is something to be understood. If your true nature is to be happy, to be productive, you will always find people who have similar passion in life. By chance, if a gossip were to attract you, remember, it is only digressing you from the actual path. You may be excited about it for some time. Later in life, you realize how much it has taken away the life energy from you. So you have to shift back to life. Because what is it taking away from you? It is taking away your strength. Where is that strength? That strength is your immune system, and this is exactly what we are talking today. Just like you have a respiratory system, you have a digestive system, we also have something called as immune system. Your system has, look at this, 50 trillion cells into so many systems, and they coordinate so wonderfully well with or without your knowledge. But you're always you're playing a very important role because you are sitting on the driver's seat. You are the architect of your life. So depending on how you take a certain situation, all these cells are reacting in the body. So let us see what is that external situation now. This is your immune system, which is attacked by the external threat. Threat can happen to you in 3 different ways. The first threat is flight. Flight is, for example, Bruce Lipton in his book, Biology of Belief, explains so beautifully well on the concept that I'm telling you right now. He says that in wild woods, if you're sitting to either pee or poo, imagine you're attacked by a lion. What do? You tell the lion, 1 second, you run for life. Does that mean that you have any less urgency? No. Your mind is understanding what is priority and accordingly functioning. So you run for life. This is like on the road if a dog bites you. Do you bite the dog? So, if a lion attacks you, do you attack the lion? You run away from the lion the moment you see the lion. Forget attacking. This is flight. This is one of the modes of operation. Another mode of operation is to fight. You know that somebody who is your opponent, you have enough and perhaps more energy to fight, so you fight. When you fight also, there's a lot of leakage of energy. The last one is freeze. There are times in our lives when suddenly, recently we were working on a lot of corona patients, and unfortunately kids who have lost both the parents during corona. Very difficult situation for these kids, and they are school-going kids. They're not emoting at all. They're not reacting, speaking, nothing to do. Because they are in the state of freeze. They are in so much shock that they do not understand what has happened to them, how suddenly parents went to the hospital and they never returned back. So this is a state of freeze. Why am I telling you these 3 states is, on very similar lines in yoga, also we have something called as absorb, react and to transcend. Which means if I yell at somebody, that person can feel really down, bad. That person can give me back and reflect, or think that this is her state and it's below my dignity to now react. So you forgive, let go, like how Jesus Christ said, you forgive, let go, they know not what they are doing. So you move on in life. Is that a possibility for you? With all these 3 things, there is a possibility your immune system can get affected. Why does the immune system get affected is, your immune system, your system can work either on the growth mode or on the protection mode. I'm not sure if you are aware of this. Growth mode, if your body is operating on, it cannot operate on protection mode. Whenever you are faced by an external threat, the first thing is for your body or your mind to protect itself. When it is protecting, the oxygenated blood supply, which is around the digestive area, starts flowing to your limbs and legs, because we are still in the hunter-gatherer zone where we think we are supposed to act for every situation. We have still not been civilized enough to think that if there is a problem, we can get a solution on thinking about it. We are still in a state where we think we have to run away, we have to act. So there is a lot of blood supply onto your hands and legs for you to take an action. When this is happening, your digestive tract and the organs around it can get affected. That is why you see people these days with a lot of lifestyle disorders in this particular area, because they are so exposed to constant chronic stress that oxygenated blood supply is not flowing throughout the body comfortably. There was this time when a lion would come and attack you, either you die or you run away. Either way, you are out of the problem in a stipulated period of time. But right now, this lion has probably become your boss, your manager, your professor, your husband, your wife, your friend. When something like this happens, you always have somebody attacking you. You are constantly in a state of fight, of flight, or freeze. Thereby, all our immune systems have gone for a toss. Having lost our immune system like this, no wonder we are attracting corona like never before. If your immune system is very, very strong, and I want to tell you, even when hospitals were not ready to accept a lot of patients, we have comfortably accepted those patients and treated them well. So, it's against law for me to stand here and say mask is of no use. But I would still want to tell you, your immune system is what you need to work on, not an external shield, because this shield will further deteriorate your lungs, because you're not getting any fresh oxygen, and that's common sense. Let's understand what exactly is happening. This is probably a very important thing that I request all of you to pay attention and know. There is something called as Hpa Access in the body, which is hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenaline. Whenever there is this stress in the system due to fight, flight, or freeze, your system thinks it is a threat from the external situation, so you have to do something about it. Even if you are not doing, that is still doing something. So your hypothalamus is sending a signal to your pituitary gland, because pituitary is the master gland of all the glands you have. Pituitary will give a signal. This is like a headmaster giving a signal for all the class teachers. This is the subject you will teach. This is the amount of time you will take in a class. Basic instruction like a skeletal sketch. So pituitary sends a signal to the adrenaline to release stress hormones. When this happens, your body starts secreting more and more. As long as you are facing the stress, your body is generating such hormones. This becomes therefore a vicious circle. When this is the vicious circle, let's see if there is a way out. These are primary symptoms and causes. There are a lot of, in fact, just 6 months back, we had a lady to our clinic. She said she must have tried everything under the sun, from all possible Ayurvedic treatments like Basti, Virechana, everything, massage. She's tried keto diet. She's tried everything that she could think of, but she's not losing weight. Losing weight has become a primary reason, motivating factor for most people to do yoga. Yoga is so much beyond weight loss. But even if I have to stick to yoga for weight loss, I want to tell you that if a person is putting on weight and not able to reduce with simple yoga, pranayama, walking, diet, still not reducing weight, the reason is not at the physical level. Like you have pancha koshas, annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, there are various koshas. Mental body leaks and it's your physical body. So, for a prolonged period of time, if you feel you are not loved enough, respected enough, you don't have an identity of your own, your body is covered layers after layers by your mind, so that you are shielded, you are protected. But the only thing that can help you lose weight is a lot of self-love and some kriyas that we have in naturopathy and yoga. Primarily, here is where the concept of energy comes. If this person probably is promoted at that point, or some reasonable sense of achievement is experienced, you will considerably see weight reduction. If you are constantly fighting for something in your mind here, I told you in the morning, what you eat is not important. What is eating you is always more important in life. So these are people who will find it very, very difficult to reduce weight. So do not work on the body, work on the mind at that point. Last time when I came to your IIST, we spoke a lot on body and how to eat, what to eat, when to eat, and a lot of compositions on that. But today we are getting a little deeper than that. So I'll tell you, Bhrigu told his father, I want to know what God is. So I will go up on the hill and meditate. His father said, okay, go. He sat just about to begin and he felt a little hungry. He thought, okay, let me meditate for some time. Once I realize what is God, and food is not a big deal. He could not. Suddenly a thought occurred to him that Annameva Brahma. God is nothing but food. Food is nothing but God. I am here to discover God. I just found it. He rushes to his father and says, I discovered what is God. His father says, really? What is it? Anna is for God. So the father says, correct. You are right. But that is not only God. That is also God. Not only. So the son thinks, oh, so there is more for me to discover. Let me have food and go discover this time, so that this does not become a combination. He has food and goes and sits for meditation. He is now thinking, oh, I only ate 2 parathas. My brother would eat 3 parathas. My mother had made sweet. Now mind is getting to be a monster. Now he thinks, if I can control my mind, definitely I am a stronger person. So mind in itself should probably be God. He goes to his father and says, I have discovered what God is. Again, the father says, you are right. Partially though. He says, what is this? Now I have to. So he keeps on doing this exercise after exercise. Once he thinks he cannot breathe, so he thinks prana is God, he thinks anna is God, he thinks manas is God, and now he thinks being able to control mind is vijnana. It's not just jnana, it is vijnana. He thinks that is God. Every time the father is telling the right, partially though. Now the last time he never comes back. So now the father is worried. This fellow is coming up with some answer. Now probably he is given up on the very question or what? Let me go and check. So the father goes up and checks. The son is extremely in an ecstatic state. He says, you never came, still in the process of discovery. He says, I was never sure, so I came to check. This time I am so sure, so I never felt I should come and ask you, what is it that you discovered, my son? He says, Ananda is ultimate God. Because when you are truly happy, there cannot be a bigger God than that. That is why you see probably a lot of Swamijis having Ananda behind their name because they think that is the ultimate state. Anyway, so what can cause Hpa Access imbalances? Chronic stress, which is an everyday stress. Depression is a state where your mind thinks it can do nothing more than what it is doing. This comes primarily from the tamastic state of body and mind. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about sattva, rajo, tamo. Sattvic is a state of showing a lot of empathy, compassion. When it comes to food, it is about eating fresh fruits, vegetables. Rajasic is a thought process where you feel extremely ambitious and want to go achieve something in life. So the foods that help you in becoming more rajasic is anything that gives you instant kick, like coffee, tea, junk food. Tamasa, on the other hand, is something that is old, dead, fermented, processed, refrigerated, micro-oven. It's not fresh, it's not having life energy in it. For example, you see a sprout, it has life energy in it. It can regrow. That is the kind of food we are supposed to eat. But Maggie, you leave it in the air, ground, wherever. Do you see more Maggies? It simply means it has no life. And that is what we are putting into our system. So if you put a lot of such tamasa, which is dead food in the body, that is who you become by making you a depressed soul. So people have also a lot of eating disorders, not eating the right quantity, not eating in the right emotion, not feeling or connecting with the food. I did this course from the Cambridge, which mostly speaks about what kind of food you are supposed to eat. It says, don't think too much about its vitamins and minerals. Is the food as colorful as possible? Does the food have life in it? Can you see the food when you eat the food? For example, you cannot see urad dal, you cannot see rice, you cannot see menthia when you are eating dosa. It's a totally different form, which is a fermented food. Can you see its original source, like a salad that has to occupy at least 60% of your diet? The food that you eat in terms of vegetables will have to be grown under the ground, like beetroot, carrot, above the ground, on the tree, on a plant, on a creeper, and maybe a flower, like in terms of a herbal tea. So if you have this combination on your plate, there is a possibility that you are getting the energy resource from virtually all facets of life. Untimely sleep. According to the circadian rhythm, your kidney, liver, gallbladder, these are toxicity removal organs. Primarily your liver. Your liver is going to be active between 11 to 1 in the night. The interesting thing about your brain and liver is, if your brain is working, your liver cannot work. And for your liver to function, your brain should first stop functioning. For your brain to already be in a state of rest by 10 o'clock, your liver can comfortably function between 11 to 1, take the toxicity off your system. But if you are up and awake watching a movie, toxicity gets deposited in the body. This kind of toxicity being deposited over a period of time naturally becomes an attraction for all possible ailments. Now, what are the symptoms that you have? A lot of stress. You are gaining weight beyond what you think is required. Your skin is not looking lustrous. You are unnecessarily having mood swings, sexual dysfunctions, fatigue, inflammation. You're having pain in various parts of the body. You feel like it is deposited and not going off. There is no free flow. You feel like the pain is deposited. You spray something, you do something about it. The next day you still feel the pain is in the local area, there continuing to exist. We have done a few yoga in terms of postures in the morning. These are some that I very strongly recommend for people who mostly sit. Because if you sit for a prolonged period of time, your body feels paralyzed from within. Human body is like a machine. It is meant for work. The more you use, the better you are. This is like Vidya. Vidya, they say, na choraharyam. If you have education, it cannot be stolen. People can steal your gold chain. They cannot steal your degree. Nacha rajaharyam. You don't have to pay tax to the government. Na bhratrabhajyam. You don't have to share it with your sibling like an ancestral property. Nacha bharakari. Oh, I'm having 4 or 5 PhDs. It is so heavy. I'm carrying it for the last 20 years. You never feel it is bharakari. Vyaye krite. The more you spend, vardhate eva nityam. The more you spend, the more it grows. So, this is the highest dhana somebody can have. To know what is happening within the body, how to conduct that energy. If this energy is very limited, how to use it wisely. So let us imagine you get a thought. You suddenly think about a nasty fight you had with one of your friends or relatives. It does not make you feel good. So the first question is, can you be wise and smart enough to first stop thinking about it? Because the more you think and think and think, by the end of 1 hour, you are going to feel worse than how you're going to feel right now, what you're feeling right now. So the first thing is, remember the first is light, the glowing ball of light. Redirect it into something that is happy, healthy, positive. This is the only control you have. You do not have control over your mind. You cannot control mind. Like a lot of people say, how to control mind? There are 1,000 YouTube videos. You can never control mind because it is a vast play field. Wherever your awareness is, there you can have your control. This is precisely what I was telling you. So, Vivekananda also says that if you think something is making you feel weak, physically, mentally, emotionally, take that out of your system immediately. Yes, it has to be treated like poison. I want to tell you the first thing that any medical student learns when they are put to a medical college is the first pass effect. So if I am taking a medication, anything like crocin for example, my liver understands that Kamala's father has never taken it, grandfather has never taken it, it's not in the DNA memory, therefore it should be a poison. Why? Because it's a foreign body. Why? Because it's a chemical, it's not normal food. So what does your liver do? It does everything possible to throw it out of your system. The very little reminiscent of what the liver cannot throw out starts working on your body. So if you're taking Dolo 650, you probably will only need some 0.5 mg. But you're taking Dolo 650 because that much tax you are putting on the liver and liver has to expel it out of your system, assuming it is a terrorist. So it is literally fighting inside. Over a period of time, therefore, what happens? If you're taking a lot of medication, your liver is thinking, that is a poison, this is a poison, this is a threat, that is a terrorist, fighting with everything, and thereby losing its own innate strength. So, we also have started something called as liver detoxification process, which is a 7-day process which can be done wherever you are. You do not have to be under anybody. You can be wherever you are. Your body constitution is taken and you can cleanse. Now the interesting part is by the end of 7th day, when you finish your detox program, you can see like cornflakes coming out of your body in various colors also. Then you will know what kind of toxicity is apparently deposited in the system. I must tell you, I have this friend who is now a yoga student also for more than 12 years. The first time I told her about it, she said, I'm a hardcore vegetarian. How will there be any toxicity in my body? I also do so much upavas. Now if I do fasting and all, so I don't think there is any toxicity. But anyway, try. She had some 3-4 colored flakes coming out of the system. So, like I told you, Santosha eva purushasya param nidhanam. Toxicity is not just in what you eat, it is formed in what is eating you. Please remember. So your own mind can be so negative that it can also turn colors and come out of your body. When you see that coming out of your body, then you will know how clean and fresh you feel within. Just take the example of a simple water bottle. You fill in water bottle every day and you drink water for a week or a month. Just don't clean the water bottle. You put your finger inside and just take a roll around the circumference. It's so slimy and not nice. Imagine what all you've put into your body and you've never all your life cleaned your body inside. You cannot even imagine how your body must be inside. So it is very important that twice or thrice a year with about 3-4 months break, you cleanse your system internally. You start feeling very light in the body and mind. You feel very fresh from within. You do not feel like you are dead anymore. You know, most people that I see, even if you're talking, I don't know if I'm even interacting or talking to them, you know, they are in their own shell. Because for a prolonged period of time, toxicity is deposited. By now it has become an integral part of their body and mind. Just like you clean your body externally, internal cleaning is all the more important. Now, let's talk about something happy and healthy and nice. Because the entire session should not feel like a threat. Oh my God, where are we? What is happening to us? We should not think of this. DOSE, dose, which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and estrogen, are apparently very important happy hormones, healthy hormones in our body. It can be secreted by doing the things that I have mentioned here, by keeping yourself very light. I want to tell you that if you ever think that you are a very important person, either in your life or in the institution that you are working or in the family you are in, give up that one thought for a while and see how wonderfully the place can function even without you. Even without you. Probably that place is going to function much better in your absence. But we are under the assumption only because I'm here, things are happening well. I must tell you a small story. As in the last month, I went to Assam, Arunachal and Meghalaya. I had a son who was 5-year-old. For the first time, I left him with my husband for about 12-13 days. The first 2 days I called her, I was always checking, did he eat ragi, did he eat rave, did he eat vegetable? So my husband said, talk about anything, just don't talk about food. Then for 2 minutes I just didn't know what to talk about if I'm not talking about food. So these hormones I told you, the dopamine, please ask yourself, can I have one person in my life where I will appreciate him or her in a day? Somebody you have to genuinely appreciate. And just because it's a checklist, don't say you're doing an amazing job to some random person. No. You will 100% see one person in a day, from a watchman to the highest official. You will see one person who's doing something well. Can you compliment? Very important. Because if you do that, your dopamine levels are increasing. This is swartha, which is selfish. You're helping somebody, but you don't understand how. On helping somebody, you are helping yourself. Oxytocin is also a hormone. Now, I did not want to get clinical about talking on these hormones, where, how, why of it, because we've already discussed the Hpa Access flow and the adrenaline rush. I thought happy hormones, it is better if I tell you the action points. What should you do so that your body can release? If you are lighter in the body, which means if you're playing with a child or a dog, or just engaging yourself in a very light activity like gardening, there's huge levels of oxytocin that gets released. Why do I need it? See, if you are not lovable, nobody will love you. For you to be lovable, first you should be loving. Correct? So, oxytocin is a hormone which helps you become loving and lovable. With that, you attract a lot of health and happiness. Now you have serotonin. I'm sure most of you know somebody in your lives, or maybe you are yourself like that people think you are somebody who's very happy today, extremely depressed tomorrow, very, very angry day after, you're on a shopping spree the next day. So, you're running some bipolar schizophrenic disorder, is what a lot of people can think. Because in the morning if you're angry, evening you're the most romantic person. Even you are not understanding why you are going through so many hormones. The answer is simple. It's a serotonin doing. So next time somebody is angry with you, say, I'm sorry, serotonin's mistake, not my mistake. Now you have an easy blame to put on serotonin. Now for you to be able to manage your hormones and your mood stabilized well, for you to exert yourself physically, therefore becomes very important. The exercises that we did in the morning, stretching, what does it do? It stretches your muscles, expands and contracts. Accordingly, you are stuffing it with a fuel called prana, which is breath. So when you inhale, now a lot of times people usually ask this question, when I'm doing this pose, now should I inhale, exhale? Now should I exhale, inhale? So suddenly when you're in that pose, you're not understanding. Inhale, exhale. Simple rule, golden rule is whenever your body is expanding, you inhale. Whenever your body is contracting, you exhale. We'll do this experiment right now. Keep your hand on your stomach, sit straight, back and chest out, shoulders rolled back, chin slightly tilted up. Keep your right palm on your belly button, umbilical cord. Inhale and exhale for about 5 counts. Keep your eyes closed. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. So much that goes, all get engaged. And that is the way to revive, and so did it revive the economy. It's a lovely case study that I suggest all of you to go through. With this, I end my session on how to channelize your energy, how your awareness can either brighten you or bring you down. You cannot control your mind. This is an age-old fantasy people have been trying to sell you, so please don't be fooled anymore if somebody is trying to tell you to control your mind. You can only control where your awareness goes, that is where your energy flows. You need to understand 3 important principles to be able to do this regularly, which is your ability to focus and concentrate. You understanding energy is very limited, and having the muscle of willpower and using it every day like perseverance. If you're talking to somebody, ensure that you give a devoted time. Your husband, wife, mother, father, teacher, have one person and practice meditation with that person by giving you 100% when you're there. And with this, your external situation, like I told you about Krishna Balarama, you always become bigger than the problem, and the problem should never be bigger than you. That depends on your ability to perceive that problem. So if by chance you perceive it like fight, flight or freeze, your immune system gets affected. If it gets affected, it gets into a protective zone whereby you are not in growth zone anymore. And this kind of a negative Hpa access on the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenaline will take away the natural flow of action that otherwise has to happen in the body. Your toxicity removal organs are affected. Your body starts to release cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which only has negative effects on the body, affecting your sleep, to food, to behavior, to mood, to your personality, and thereby your life. So for you to generate happy hormones, DOSE, which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin and endorphin, what should you do? What are the activities that you should engage yourself in is being told. Now if you have any doubts, one or two, I'm more than happy to take. Please. Yes.
The process you have said, liver detoxifying process, I want to know about that.
Okay, so this is a 7-day long procedure whereby you, as in your body's Vata Pitta Kapha is considered, and accordingly the food regimen is given. There are foods suggested to you to be avoided, to be taken according to your customized body type. If required, there are some stretching bending also suggested to you. By the end of it, you're expected to drink a portion of an Ayurvedic concoction given to you, which can be prepared wherever you are. And also, somebody like me can prepare it and give it to you. Either way, it is okay. Finally, you do enema, which is water being let into the rectum, about 1.5 liters, and that carries all the toxicity of the system. So it is an 8-day process. Only the last 2 days you involve yourself in enema. Water enema.
You told that if something is affecting you negatively, just reject as a poison. But if you cannot control your mind, how you will reject those thoughts?
Cannot control your mind? I told you, you can never control your mind. You can only control your awareness. If, for example, you hate me to the core, you can't stand the look of me. The moment you see me, there is a lot of irritation in your mind. Can you look at Aishwarya Rai, please? Change your awareness. If thinking about a fight really upsets you, can you think about the first crush you had? You have, yeah, you have amazing. So, I didn't know the list is so big, but okay. So think about something pleasant in your life, as simple as that. All of us have had amazing, wonderful times in our lives. You must have also had some bad experiences, but why do you want to think about it? Correct? Your awareness is where your energy is flowing. So if you can be smart, what to think, what not to think. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, madam. I have 2 questions. One is you are talking about this tamoguna.
About?
Tamoguna.
Tamas.
So there would be, like irrespective of the food that we eat, the vasanas accumulate over many lives. How do you deal with that? Tamo vasanas that comes into your. The second one is, I had an experience. I thought I would share it here. I was in deep sleep. All of a sudden I woke up. Means I was aware. Then from here, okay, it's like a column of bamboo. The rum sound, metallic sound was just, I could feel it. It's not the external sound, and the entire body was vibrating. So I was discussing with many of my colleagues, friends. They were telling that rum corresponds to that small energy. There was one chakra. So if you can throw some light on what actually happened or what happened.
This is something so see, this is like magnet. If you intend to say something and probably don't say because of the lack of time, questions like this end up coming. See, from Mooladhara chakra to Sahasrara chakra, there are 7 chakras in the human body. Mooladhara, Lam, so each of this has Bija mantras. Ram is also a Bija mantra accordingly. Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agna, Sahasrara. Each of these are like energy centers in the body. And we have granthis. If you know Lalita Sahasranama, they say Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi, Rudra Granthi. Granthis are psychological knots primarily. For your energy to flow comfortably, these knots should not be there. That's why we say Brahma Granthi Vibhedini. It breaks the Granthi and comes off. So these 7 chakras that you have in human body also have organs around it. If your chakra is not in harmony, not balanced, then organs around that particular chakra naturally get affected. So it not only has an impact on the physical body, it also has a psychological impact. Sometimes you see people have the tendency of stealing, constantly gossiping, not being able to take a decision and be decisive. They are very, very indecisive. They select on a certain cloth, for example, red or blue, 1 hour investment of time. This is Ajna Chakra disturbance. So your chakras are energy centers, they correspond to organs, chakras go wrong, it is vice versa. It has an impact, like your psychosomatic disorders and somatopsychic disorders is your chakra and the organs accordingly. You can meditate on each of these chakras simply to ensure that you have a free flow. Otherwise, these days you are also having chromotherapy, which is color therapy, which can be used. For example, for throat, Vishuddha chakra, we say Neelakanta, it is blue. So what do? You visualize the color blue and you can cleanse this chakra. How? At a physical level means you can, for example, take a glass water bottle which is blue in color, put water into it, leave it outside in the sunlight for 1.5 hours during Sankhya Kala. That's the most powerful sun ray that you can get in terms of energy. Then you drink that, you're not just drinking water, you're drinking energized. Thereby you're clearing the Vishuddha chakra. Likewise, Vibgaya is the color of your chakras. V, I, B, G for green, goes on. So any problem you have in a certain chakra or for a certain organ, we say this organ is corresponding to this chakra has this Bija mantra, this chakra has this color. Somebody does not believe in God, so what do I do? Yeah, so you can give them chromotherapy, there is acupressure, there are so many things which can be done. They're all, it's like God. They're all gods but in different names. They're all systems of healing but in different names, different ways. So you can either chant a Bija mantra, or you can drink this water, or you can have this blue color like your red light. In that way, it has an impact on your life. And this is not just hearsay. The first time, I must tell you this, the first time when I started reading about it, I thought only people with weak minds, I was just being a skeptic. But now I realize I was beyond being a skeptic. I was probably cynical when I was thinking, because without experience, I cannot say anything. So once I started practicing is when I probably gave up the very existing field I was in. So Sir was telling me, say something on why I got onto it. So to tell you very, very briefly, I did MBA in International Business and I was working as an investment banker. So I was telling Madam also, I thought money is everything at one point, till a point where you have sufficient money in life. Then I thought, no, education is very, very important. So I worked in JN University teaching economics as an assistant professor, CA students for another few years. Then I realized the amount of passion I probably have for economics, students don't really have so much. So what do I do in a class? All they want is, have I passed? Have I got the best grades? What's my CGPA today? All that matters. So health is finally the profession that I chose because when an audience come to you, it can be a student for a subject or it can be a patient if you are in the field of yoga. Unless and until they really want from you, it gets very difficult for the person to offer it. That's why there's this very famous Zen proverb which says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's so true. As long as you do not want to be healthy, no matter what and who you have around you, it's very difficult to get into this fitness, health, wellness, well-being journey. You should feel it innately within yourself, and you will see that everything you see is talking to you volumes of only being happy and healthy. And I really think for all that we do in life, being happy and healthy is perhaps the most important pillars of your life. Today when I look back, I remember times early in the morning. I was set for my law class. And today, I wonder how much of physics, chemistry or math is taking me versus how dealing with my own emotions is dealing me. You need to deal with your emotions every day. So please sit in the driver's seat and you take charge of your life.
I'm a psychologist. I just want to comment on two things. One is regarding if a person has automated negative thoughts coming into the mind of the individual.
Automatic.
Automated means the person doesn't have much control over the thoughts that the individual experiences.
Okay.
So usually, according to the CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, what is investigated is looking at the core beliefs that the individual believes about one's own self, and then correcting those beliefs will, the individual.
Yeah, I understand CBT. What's the question?
So the question is, addressing those core beliefs will change the negative thoughts that the individual is experiencing. Your comments on that? So
What is the negative experience, for example?
for example, if an individual is having not much control over what the person perceives about one's own self, can do this, I can't do
This,
that.
tell me this.
Let's say, I can understand this topic. Even
Then
if I put effort, I can understand.
If you put effort, you can understand physics, for example.
Yeah, the negative thought will be like, even if I put effort, I think I don't have the intellectual capability to understand this. That's a negative thought.
So you're asking, if I think I cannot understand physics, how do I understand physics? The answer is, please think that you can understand physics. Because in the last slide we said, you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Both ways you are right.
But the individual has a strong belief behind those thoughts that the individual experiences. So my question
Right.
is,
So to answer on that, there is something called as Mooladhara Chakra, which is the seat of all the historical thought processes, pent up emotions that you have. We keep on functioning based on that, which simply means we are not in the present. Now if somebody walks into this, I want to tell you, I had this perception myself. For the longest of time, my father told me, don't talk to people who are very wealthy. I don't know why he said this. Today you should stop talking to me. He said, don't talk to people who are very rich because... one day I met this friend of mine who is my chairman's daughter. And why is it that you don't talk to a lot of people? And then she had a different version. She said, I always feel that people talk to me because they can somehow influence their lives because of who I am. Just being with me, they think they have a lot of power. So I always feel like I'm being used for wrong reasons. So I do not want to give that kind of an image. So I keep myself at a distance from most people. You see, even the judges and most people, they are expected to carry themselves in a certain way because they can't let loose. So if you're asking me very strongly deep in my mind, if I think I can't, how do I get rid of that? That is the seat of Mooladhara Chakra. Today morning, you remember you did butterfly and Shishupalasana. It works on your Mooladhara Chakra. It is a kriya to rectify your Mooladhara Chakra, which simply means you feel, right now I'm a bottle, I'm a container, and I can take as much water this container takes. If you're a jug, the water takes the shape of a jug. Likewise, so if you can break, for you to be able to break yourself, you have to break the stored image that you think you have about yourself. She asked a very similar question. You're asking, this is an attraction, which is apparently a distraction. You have to sit and study. Your phone is your attraction. Do you have the mental bicep of perseverance? And tell yourself, no pressure. So do you have that mental bicep? Is very, very important. Can you practice that? Yes, it will go. If you do not channelize, it will go like a wild horse. Can you channelize is the question. Do you want to be healthy, happy? Do you want to be an achiever? It is very important. This is the Niagara syndrome. If you think your life is happening so wonderfully well without your effort, know that it is Niagara that is calling you. So, if you think it is such an extraordinarily interesting thing, it is very transient, it is very temporary. Don't you realize already? If you're watching something on your phone and that's exactly what your mind wants, don't you have the intelligence to understand if you continue doing it for a month, year, 3 years, 4 years, where will you be? Can you not ask yourself this simple question? After having asked, after having known that is Niagara syndrome, if you still want to be, maybe that's how you will learn lessons in life. Who can stop you? If something good happens to you in life, you think it is God's prasada. If something very bad happens to you in life, somebody like me will consider it as God's Mahaprasada, because you have a bigger lesson in life to learn, and probably that has to happen to you. That's the only way for you to learn. Every action, I tell you, Oscar Wilde writes this, tired of being on the heights, I deliberately went into the depths of life in search of new sensation. What a paradox was to me in the sphere of thought. Perversity became to me a passion. You understand what is perversity, no? That itself became passion. Desire at the end was a melody or a madness or both. I grew careless in the lives of others. Always remember, if you are investing in anything, anybody other than yourself, it is leakage of your most important energy. You have to be so watchful, even when you are talking to somebody. If it's of no use, please stop talking. Because you have to conserve your energy. It is like money. You have to conserve. So when you know already, if you are putting yourself into an action, seeing phone, somebody else's social media site, be it Instagram, whatnot, nothing is going to happen to you. That person, your life is getting wasted doing that person. If you simply can be aware of what is the next outcome of that, and if you are okay with it, go ahead, take up that action. Even after knowing that, if you still do it, you have to suffer. This speech is for the audience who are simply living their lives, not even thinking what next. So, it is a gentle reminder for all of you, before you think, talk, speak, there is going to be an outcome. If you are responsible enough, strong enough to face it, go ahead and do anything you want in life, don't regret it. But if you can't take the repercussion of what you're doing, it's time to think otherwise. So that's why I started my session saying awareness is like a glowing ball of light. Never think that you are happy. Awareness is in a state of your mind and happiness. You are thinking, I am happy. So, right now in this call, when I asked all of you to close your eyes and think about this phone call that you received of somebody being dead, did you receive a phone call now? No. But by the end of it, did one person, even if by chance you could not think of that phone call, definitely you did not have a smile on the face. Correct? So, by simply taking your awareness to a state of your mind which is not pleasant, if you can feel unpleasant, why should you voluntarily dig your own grave and get into it? It's just about conscious life and consciously choosing your actions, thoughts, words, emotions that you feel, because that is exactly what is going to manifest in your life. If you're okay for that to manifest, go ahead. That's why I said energy cannot differentiate between good and bad. Everything is going to grow. A weed is going to grow. A plant that is going to give you flowers and fruits is going to grow. It is your job to be aware, because where your energy, as in wherever your awareness goes, that is where your energy flows, and that is what manifests in your life. If you can always remember this golden rule in your life, I am sure you will pick up only those actions which are right for you. You will not do anything that is detrimental for you.
I would like to request our registrar, Dr. Vaidyan Krishnamurthy, to say the word of thanks and also give a small memento on behalf of IIST to Srimati Kamala Bharadwaj.
And also, we are celebrating International Yoga Day today, is basically to understand how to the union of our body and conscious. That's what is most important. So, and that has been given top priority by our Prime Minister, not only the country to the world, in the journey which we are all going and the lifestyle which has changed. We are all running, not understanding where we had to go and why we had to go, not questioning. And especially most of you who are on the BTech students, gone through the IIT, JEE Advanced, you have gone through the run-of-the-mill of, because of certain environmental conditions, you have gone to certain schools and so much of grilling and neighbors asking what next. And I'll tell you, this what next will not end anywhere. Okay, even after you retire also someone will ask you what next. That was asked to me after retiring, what next? So I didn't have an answer instantly. So this is not going to leave you. So you have to be very clear that what you want to do and what you want to be happy about. And to be happy about, we have to be healthy also. Without being healthy, we cannot be happy. It's all both linked. So Madam has given us very nice antidotes for if you're not healthy, what to do. If you're not happy, how to make yourself aware. In very simple terms. It looks very simple, but it's not that easy to practice. So, like we all are supposed to, official language is there, Hindi, right? So we all get a lot of certificates. But once you have a lot of certificates, but if you don't speak regularly, you miss the bus. When you want to speak, you cannot speak. Not only the official language, even your own native language you cannot speak. And that's my experience. Because someone asked me after a long time being in Maharashtra and other parts of the country, someone told, speak in Telugu, in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana. So I cannot speak in Telugu. I can speak colloquial Telugu, but not as a speech for a context. See, this is what happens. So if you postpone everything for tomorrow, certain things will miss. So whatever has been told to you, in earnestly coming all the way from Bangalore, okay, madam. So start working every day, even while you're walking, even while you're chatting, even while you're relaxing and seeing the fountain. Place is not immaterial. Even you're waiting for your dinner or waiting for your turn to play your shuttle, so someone is playing and while observing that, keep doing your little small warming up and then certain breathing exercises, very simple breathing exercises. Go back in time and especially don't look at with faith we believe. What you really enjoy. You must have a lot of good moments. Standing on top of a hill, looking beautiful scenery there. That's a moment in life. Go back to the time. Focus that. That's what makes you more happy. So whatever is happening now or the problems what are around are never big. Never big. Because always we presume they are big. What to do? What will happen? Whether they will accept my proposal. And then approach the problem as it comes. Solution is there. But for that, your mind has to be fresh. So these are all the things, techniques by which way you can keep yourself healthy and fresh in mind and peace at mind. These are there. I think there is nothing which is impossible to all. You can do everything, whatever you want to do in life. Everything. Everything means beyond imagination. So please understand, this is what I can tell all about you because you're all highly knowledgeable people. But unfortunately, certain things we get into certain distractions. So focus. Once you focus beyond your imagination, you can perform, and that's the thing which I can tell based my own experience. Okay? So I thank Madam once again profusely from bringing back to all of us and coming all the way. And I thank especially Dr. Anand Narayanan, who was coordinating this program, and Dr. Kurvila Joseph, who is behind me that we should have Madam's program this time. Okay, being online or offline, we debated and then we went to our director and he considered that yes, we can have in a hybrid mode, and so many many people are online looking at, and even in the office time today, everyone is online hearing the talk and the discussion which is happening here. And especially faculty who are here, and also the young friends, students. Okay, morning also you are very actively participated, and now also you are here, and my colleague staff who are there, and especially from the administration, Vindhya madam and her team, Hari Krishna, did a fantastic job of ensuring the venue itself is nicely made up and made us comfortable, including the mats were decided only yesterday morning, and new mats of 50 are there. So nothing stopped. T-shirts also were talked about just 2 days before, and T-shirts are come. This is what I am telling you. You think you want to do, it is there. It is only how to do, we always think. Whether you draw at once or purchase as to do, well, it is not immediate. You want it, you get it. That's all. There are two things in life. So this is where, but then whatever you have to think, you have to think with passion. Not just, I want it. Not like it should come from your heart. Then things will happen. This is what all the people did this with passion, and then that is where things happen in a bigger way. Then we want to do it in a hybrid mode, so it cannot happen here or there. So we had a team which worked on Mohan Sukumar and his group. Our group has worked to ensure that the program is live on the machine elsewhere, and also physically being here, and we can put everything went so smoothly and professionally that will happen. So I thank one and all, and also the photographer who has covered, and you will all receive the photography, these things as this thing. And then Madam's talks are on YouTube. You can also visit the site of this thing. There are certain topics. Some of you asked about the 7 days program, 8 days program. You go there, and Madam made one more offer to the faculty. If someone, because someone has a pain, consistent pain, even after taking medicine, it doesn't stop. Okay, it's keep coming. Or you want to perform better. Okay, she said she will help us. Okay, as a program, and also for the students. If certain set of students, as a team group, you want to do something different, or something you want to enhance your skills, or you want to focus better on certain things, and you are unable to do, she said that she can conduct certain programs for them. Okay, and yesterday night, whole evening, we were talking while walking, and we could understand better the way she has dealt with the very tough things, and then her own experience is unique. That's where she could, like a flow, she could speak to you, and the questions which has been asked, she could very diligently address. Okay, that's the spirit of which such an experienced person being here. And not only that, she wants to also continue this association, not once in a year, but in between, whenever you want something, we can definitely approach her. Thank you, Madam, for that offer, and we will definitely come back to you on the subject. So there's a lot of thanks to everyone who is here and who have made this program a grand success. And then we'll also continue to do this instead of an annual program, being the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So at least monthly once program we should have along with the students in active here, and also in a hybrid mode. So it triggers that we need to do continuously on this. So once again, thanks for everyone to be here physically and also to be part of this program and make it a grand success. Have a nice day. Thank you.